and welcome back. Today I'm going to be filling the trough with my laundry garden dahlia collection, which is over here and all grown from tubers and ready to go in here. Now, we did have some tulips in here, if you remember, and we have completely emptied everything completely. You might be wondering why I've completely emptied everything. And the reason why is because the tulips throw out these roots, and the roots can sometimes get quite congested because we had quite a lot of tulips in here and I do bury them quite deep. And with all this congestion of roots from the tulips, we run the risk of blocking the drainage holes. And when the drainage holes are blocked, the amount of rain we've been having recently as well, and we could have a wet summer, you just don't know. And this trough could become waterlogged, which would ruin the tulips and the dahlias won't thrive at all. So whenever we're planting up a new planting in a pot or anywhere, it's always really, really good to just take absolutely everything out. I know it can be a bit of a bore, but it's worth it in the end. And also, because we're going to be reusing all of the soil that we've taken out, what I'm going to do with the soil as well is I'm going to add some fish blood and bone and some chicken manure pellets while I'm putting it back in, just to add a bit of a boost and some feed to get the dahlias up and running when they're planted. Before I put any soil back in here, I want to make sure all of these drainage holes are clear as well. And then I'm going to put these old terracotta pot crocks over them. And you can see, probably more so this one, how it's got a little, probably what you'd call a bevel, I think. And then by putting that just over them, there's always that little bit of a gap underneath, which helps to aid that bit of drainage. So I've done that with all the drainage holes in here. Right. What I might do is put one wheelbarrow's full in here and then just have a look and see how that sits. And then I might just put a very, very light amount of fish blood and bone just to get some nutrients going in there, and then add the next barrow full and the next barrow full, adding just a little bit, not too much, of feed as I go along. I decided to put 2 wheelbarrows full in, purely because that was going to half fill the trough. And then I thought I would add the fish blood and bone and the chicken manure now, because this is where the roots are going to start to sit when I plant the dahlias, and it will just give them a nice kickstart. So I'm going to do that now, and I kind of do it by eye, really. And this is exactly the same as what I do when planting them in the garden as well. But what I do when I plant them in the garden is that I try and add this maybe a week before I plant them so that it gets into the soil. Right. Basically, a handful per third. And that just gives enough nutrients there. And then the chicken manure pellets, and again just a handful here, handful here, and a handful there. And then I'll just swirl it in a little bit just to try and distribute it as best as possible. And then I shall add the next 2 wheelbarrow full of soil. Right, now the trough is full, we are ready to start arranging where the dahlias are going to go. Now I've got 7 dahlias. Now in my laundry garden dahlia collection there are 3 dahlias, which is Spartacus, Thomas A. Edison and French Can-Can. Now I need an extra one, so I've decided to add an extra French Can-Can in here to make it up to the 7 dahlias. Right, I'm going to get them all in position to just have a proper look at them all together, because they all grow at different stages as well, and it's nice to sort of get an even balance of how they're all going to look together. Now all of these are very tall dinner plate varieties, or decorative even, and they're going to be up here and filling this area. Oh, can't wait, it's so I mean, look at this one. See how that's just decided to grow lopsided? I mean, right. The very first time I planted up this trough was back in 2020. So this is the 4th summer I've been planting dahlias in here and tulips. And I got overexcited. And not only did I plant too many dahlias, I planted other things as well. And they got stifled out by the dahlias, and the dahlias somehow, they managed, but I knew I'd got overexcited. So now I've pulled it back a little bit and I only plant dahlias in here, because once they get going and their roots are down and they throw out more leaves and then they throw out their flowers, I really don't need to plant much else in here. I mean, I could put a few grasses here and there, but I'm in this for the dahlias at the end of the day. So, well, if we have a look at this here, I think, so we have French Can-Can, Thomas Edison, Spartacus, French Can-Can, Thomas Edison, Spartacus and French Can-Can. So we've got French Can-Can middle and at the ends. And I'm thinking I might put this one at the end, balance it out a little bit, because I've got a little one on that end. So if I put this one here, that to me, and also when I plant them as well, I'll make sure they sort of sit as central as I can put them in the trough, so they've got plenty of room either side when they're inside the soil. I think that looks great. Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to get them in. Okay, looking great, brilliant. Now you're probably wondering what I'm going to use as plant supports. Well, last year, to great success, I used these dome plant supports, and they're from Crocus, and also the Dahlia collection is too. These proved to be absolutely fantastic. If anything, they anchored the area around them, and then if I needed to add any extra support as they got bigger, I could just put them into the sides and just add more as they got bigger. Now, and interestingly, they fit perfectly into the trough. I was quite amazed actually on how well they slotted in. It was quite uncanny. It was almost as if they were meant to be in here. Now I can only fit 3 of these in. I did try and fit more, but it actually looked too much. And in the end, I just thought to myself, if I just put 3 in, then I've got all that support. And by having metal supports as well, they're quite strong. And actually, they look really nice as well. And what I can do is I can either use bamboo branches, sticks even, and thread them through like so, or lower down even, as these are coming up. And probably I could put those in higher. And what that does, it will just help to support these other ones coming up. And then I can just, oh, I need a longer one. And then I can just raise these up as the dahlias come up. And then until I get to the top here, what I did do last year is, so let's say these were up here by the summer. What I did do is I got some slightly taller ones of these, and what I did is I pushed them in, and you don't really see them. Once these are nice and big and tall, the foliage and flowers take over really, so you can actually just slot a few of these in strategically where you need them, and then tie them to your anchors here and here if you need to, just to hold them and stop these dahlias from falling too far forwards and swaying too much in the wind. So you can sort of build it up as they get bigger. Well, that's what I do anyway. Or I've also got these, and these are like spirals, and I can add them as another extra bit of support. And again, they look really nice. And what will happen is these will come up through. But what I want to do is make sure these don't fall around the place. So I'll probably engineer some bamboo sticks just to stop them falling forward when it gets a little bit blustery. But apart from that, I think this looks absolutely brilliant. I'm going to give everything a nice drink of water now and watch them grow. My kitchen window is just there, and it's an absolute joy to watch these come into flower and enjoy them. It's a real pleasure. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful to you, and I'll bring you back here over the coming weeks as these get bigger and bigger, and as I need to add any more stakes to them so you can see how it all works. Until then, I will see you next week. Take care. Bye.